Swimmers, take your mark.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Deck with Florida Swim Network, the new swim show that highlights kids from around the state of Florida. I'm your host, Joe Auer, with David Van Buskirk and Coach Sid Cassidy.
And On Deck is a weekly TV show that really focuses on all aspects of swimming. And speaking of all aspects of swimming, guys, guess what? We are now into the official high school swim season.
You're right about that. Middle of August, we finally got through that crazy month of July.
It was that. A
We
cool
had
month
so
of July,
many
by the way.
meets. Yeah, and then internationally we had, Toronto, we had Korea before that, then we just had Kazan and 2 weeks in San Antonio. But now everybody in the States focused on their high school program. They've all officially had opening week, and it's a very busy time.
How in the world do you come down from all those meets, which I think is crazy to begin with, there's a lot of meets, but then come down and bring your high school kids back and get them mentally prepared to come back to
Well,
that?
Joe, I think a lot of coaches look at their team and split it up. You have your club kids that maybe were just in San Antonio, or maybe they were off to the Futures meet, or wherever your final meet was. And you might give them a little bit more of a break than your high school level swimmers who, by August 10th or August 16th, you say, hey, wait, we want to come back and get these guys into the pool because they haven't really been doing much. And then once the second or third week of August rolls around, you really have to have everybody back in. So selling them on a short break is important.
And getting refocused.
That's right. Now, Sid, let me ask you this. This high school season, a little different compared to last year. This year, at the end of the season, is a lot of these kids we've heard have Olympic trial cuts. Oh, this is Olympic trial season. How do you train differently? That's right.
Well, absolutely. I mean, for us personally at St. Andrews, we'll do long course in the morning quite a bit. We usually go weekends long course.
Through the school year.
Through the school year, our school starts later now. We don't start till 8:30, so
that's nice.
We can get a good practice in the morning. I think a lot of programs that are like the coach we have on today, John Sakovich. I think they don't come any bigger than Bolles. I mean they won the state title in the boys. I think over 25 years
Correct.
or so, and almost as long.
No pressure for the new coach.
No
well,
pressure.
he's not
lying
really,
and waiting on this one, too,
No, because John is not a rookie, man. He has
Right.
been around. He's been with them and a big part of their success for many
course.
years. He was a Gator.
Of course.
He knows the
swimmer, good
game.
stuff.
And he'll have them, I'm sure, doing some long course and short course training. We'll ask him when he gets here and see what he thinks. But I think it's important, too, because of the representing your school kind of buzz that gives the kids to use the high school season as a springboard into the long course meets that'll follow in December.
And a lot of high schools talk tradition too. I'm sure you do at St. Andrews, and Bolles does. They have it all over their shirts and everything. So that's a big part of it.
Well, it is. In South Florida, I mean, for us, we've been in the shadow of Pinecrest, the great Jay Fitzgerald, and here we are now, John Sakovich taking over Bolles. For us, we're real excited to build our tradition. We want to win a relay now and then. We want to get a few more gold medals, and it's exciting to have that type of camaraderie amongst us as colleagues, and also the athletes. They really get along great in this state. I've known and respected John for so many years, and being a little bit his senior, I actually got to watch him race. And I think no matter who it is in this state that you match yourself up with, there's so many quality programs and so many different ways to get it done that it's exciting. And that's why we have the Florida Swim Network.
It is.
You're exactly right. Well, Joe, as you're aware, we're going to have John Sakovich coming up a little bit later on, but who else do we have?
Well, right now, we're going to go see former Gator swimmer Caitlin Freeling talk about high school recruiting, college recruiting. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, Caitlin Freeling here to give you a tip on how to prepare for your junior year. Keep your grades up. This is your year to get your foot in the door with colleges. You don't want to be at practice thinking about, oh, I have to get out early because I have to study for my math exam in order to pass the class. That's no fun. Trust me, I've been there. I had to get out 3 practices in a row early to study for an English final because I was teetering on the edge a little bit. There's ways to prevent it, and looking back, if I could have been in the water focusing on the little things, it would have been a lot better for me in the long run. This is also dealing with time management. When you get up to college, you're gonna have a lot on your plate, and you're gonna need to know how to manage your time wisely. Remember, at the end of the day, it'll all pay off.
There's people who care where I'm going, and good friends who welcome me home. So get a full tank of freedom, drive the American road. And with a full tank of freedom, find your own highway. We'll take you wherever you go. Take you wherever you go.
Welcome back to On Deck.
Breaststroke is a stroke made in the prone position in which both hands move simultaneously forward, outward, and backward from in front of the chest while the legs move in a frog kick.
On Deck with Florida Swim Network, we'd like to congratulate some of the swimmers that made it to the road to Omaha.
For more information, join us on Florida Swim Network, and don't forget your hashtag FSN Omaha. Welcome back to On Deck. We have the Bolles School coach, John Sakovich. Man, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. Honored to be here. Excited. Well, ready to go.
So, John, real quick on last year, before we start talking about this high school swim season, let's talk a little bit about last year. Your boys and girls both finished first. Unbelievable swims. I think you had over 400 points in both girls and boys. Let's talk a little bit about last year's team.
Oh, last year's team was good. Not much else to say. They worked hard. They bonded together at the end and came through and just, had a sole focus in the meet, just trying to do the best that we could.
Well, John, let me ask you a question quickly, because you've won that meet so many times in a row. Of course, this year will be your first time as the head coach.
Right.
I told these guys, you're certainly no rookie, but we really believe that it's a challenge to get up when you're the favorite. It's different than if you're trying to climb the hill. What is it about the motivation and tradition? What do you do at Bolles to make sure those kids don't go flat?
I think we work on helping them understand that, well, first of all, not to take it for granted. Anything can happen at the end. Someone can get sick, a bunch of people can get sick, they don't get to go to the meet. I think also, too, in that we shoot for the national title as well. So there's additional goals in addition to, state records, national records, that sort of thing. Plus, they want to go best times. What kid wants to go to a swim meet and not go a best time? So there's added incentive there. You put it all together, and that just adds to the success of what we're doing.
I can understand that. Now, was there anything special in terms of the goals you achieved at the state championship meet for either the guys or the girls last year?
In addition, our first goal is obviously always to win, but I think individual goals were definitely there, relay goals. We achieved some. We didn't achieve them all as we wanted to. Still waiting to see how the guys did in the national rankings.
Right.
So that was obviously a goal last year, as well as the girls, getting back up there into competition.
Is it part of the grand strategy at Bolles to take a fast swimmer, maybe go one event, in 2 relays or 1 event in 3 relays? I can even do that?
No.
I mean, what the heck?
You can swim all 3 relays.
Vertigani's doing 1 event
Right.
in two events.
We figured out a couple years ago that the relays were worth twice the points. I mean,
So go for them.
and if we can put 4 boys together and go, 3 good relays, there's a real good shot at winning it flat out. Just because, 3 relays usually scores enough points to almost win it.
And you're talking about the National Mythical
This is the
Championship.
National Mythical Championship.
Right.
Makes sense.
And so, we're always going to try and shoot for the highest possible goal that we can shoot for at any time, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's nationals, so on and so forth.
Which kind of gets us to this year, and I know with this being an Olympic trial year, and certainly you have a lot of Americans thinking about that. You probably have swimmers from other countries that are interested in making their own Olympic teams. Maybe some of them already have.
Right.
How do you see the high school season this year motivating, being a little different, or is there anything different because it is the Olympic year?
Correct.
The Olympic year always is always different because we have a lot of kids that are going to be pretty concerned about their Olympic cuts, and any opportunity that they get to try and make these cuts in a long course meet, we're going to have to go for it. So we may have a kid or two that might be, well, I don't know if I can go to the States because I need to go to this meet and try to qualify. Most of the time we've been lucky so far, and they all wait, all their meets are usually in April, May, June. So we've been lucky enough to have everybody there, but that's always a concern. But it's a stepping stone.
So how are you stacked for this year? What do you got coming up? Who are the folks that you have?
Hey, let's look at the girls first. We'll go
Okay.
on the girls' side. So,
On the girls' side, we have a lot of our juniors. Olga Laptiva, Chloe Miller, Chrissy Sad, Maddie Wessel. We lost a lot of girls and boys on both sides, a lot of seniors. We have a few kids that are not returning to Bolles for various reasons. So it's going to be a very different team, but I think we're going to be dependent on a lot of our juniors as well as our incoming freshmen and any new kids that we have coming in.
Well, I know your girls in the middle school the last couple of years have been very strong when we look at state rankings or look at flags or any of those meets. And I would guess that, a lot of them as they come up, are the newcomers a big part of what you're looking at for the high school season?
We always look at everybody to contribute one way or another, whether it's pushing the older girls to swim faster or just one of the younger girls stepping up and saying, hey, I'm going to take that spot. And I think that just creates a lot of that competition to keep them moving forward.
Before we go to the boys, I want to see. Look at this clean-shaved guy right here. Have you guys seen this in a while? I mean, look at that.
Well, let me tell you the secret of this. I realized, and this was a last-minute realization, was that I let the beard grow, and as my birthday got closer, I started thinking, I wonder how much younger I'll look when I shave on my birthday. So on my birthday, I shaved, and I look probably about 10, 15 years younger. And I think that's going to be my new tradition.
Really good.
Is instead of aging, I'm going to look younger
There
every
you
year
go.
on my birthday.
That's a good plan.
shaving tapered going into the
Shaving
season.
tapered going into my birthday.
I like it. What about the boys? Tell us some about the guys coming up, because you've always been so strong.
Yep.
We have, I think, Tyler Rice, Andy Song. We've got a few other boys, Wiley Watson, Ian McFeeters, that are gonna be really good this year. Unfortunately, Vergani is not eligible. He's back in Italy for his final year.
You got Spectre?
We do have Ariel Spector. So we have a lot of boys. There's a lot of good depth, and again, we've got some young ones coming in, just like on the girls' side, that are going to push the older boys and let them know that, hey, just because you're a junior or a senior doesn't mean you're making the state team. You got some freshmen pushing you. So.
All right, with that being said, and Sid is going to jump me if I don't talk about it, let's talk about diving.
You can hear the boards bouncing in the background here at the YMCA. So, yeah, they always are strong at
Yes,
bowls.
they are.
Tell us about the diving.
Well, the diving, the girls are always pretty good. We have a pretty good club that's helped feed our system. We've struggled a little bit on the boys. We've had 1 or 2 boys the last couple of years on the team. I'm not sure the reason, if just diving's just not that strong in Jacksonville for the boys. But all our girls have dove since they were little kids, or they came from gymnastics, so they have that background.
I think Jill Glasser last year finished 8th for you guys.
Yes. Yep.
So, top 10 finishing. So, and I think Jed was the boy that was that you had mentioned earlier.
Correct.
That came
He
back
was.
in,
He was. So we have a young girl, Annalise, and a couple others that are escaping my mind, and I apologize for that. But I know we've got 3 or 4 really good girls that are up and coming that are going to do something next year or so.
This week's swimmer highlight is Dan Erlenmeyer from Sarasota Wise Sharks and Lakewood Ranch High School.
This episode of On Deck with the Florida Swim Network is brought to you by The Aquatic Shop. This episode of On Deck with Florida Swim Network is brought to you by The Aquatic Shop.
You can watch us on deck with Florida Swim Network.
Hey everybody, Dr. Brad Burkhardt here from Orlando Orthopedics with your Healthy Minute. Today I'm going to talk about stretching and joint stretching specifically. So you swimmers out there and you coaches too who are teaching these guys how to do what they're doing, these girls and guys swimming every day, you need to be able to have full mobilization of your joints in order to fully experience and to fully maximize your experience while swimming. You'll see those Olympic athletes out there when they're getting up on the blocks and they're swinging their arms back and forth and they're shaking everything out. They're mobilizing those joints, they're stretching those ligaments. And what that does is prevent injury by allowing your joint to be as mobile as possible, helps warm up the soft tissues that are around your joints and helps warm up the muscles too. So stretching and strengthening those joints is very, very important, and I would highly encourage it before any type of activity, and cooling down by stretching after your swim is also very important. So listen to your coaches, kids.
Welcome back to On Deck with Florida Swim Network. Earlier I had an opportunity to sit down with the legend, author, and coach Bob Steele, and this is what he had to say. Bob, you've started off not only in club, but in high school, and also being a college coach. What got you involved in coaching swimming?
I didn't know how to swim as a sophomore in high school. And my friends had a 150 medley relay before butterfly. And they needed a backstroker. So they took me to the YMCA at Christmas time, and in a 2-week break at Christmas, they taught me how to swim backstroke, and that's all I swam for the next 7 years, was backstroke. And since that day, every day of my life has been swimming.
So Bob, let's go back to the days when you were coaching not only club, high school, and the college level. What do you do when a swimmer, or what did you do when a swimmer came to you and said, Coach Bob, guess what? I did the workout, I ate what I was supposed to, I'm doing everything I possibly can do, and I'm just not, I don't feel like I'm getting any better. What do you tell that swimmer?
Well, if we're at a meet, the first thing we're going to do is watch the people in the fastest heats, because those swimmers that have bad swims are usually in early heats. Mm-hmm. And the first thing they do is get out of the water and go sulk somewhere. But you got to stand there and make them watch the fastest swimmers so they see what the heck the fastest swimmers are doing. And then as a coach, I would change their training plan. I would, and I'd create confirming swims that create a value, and they know how valuable they are. But create in practice confirming swims that confirm their value and their ability. And then I would change their training to a different stroke and their racing to a different distance so that everything's different. If they're stuck on freestyle, I change their breathing side completely, and that will change things. So there's so many things you can do. And then there's components in race analysis. Time turns, tempo, time streamlines from a start, from a push-off, and relay exchanges. Those are things that can be timed, and kids can get better at it. We have a mousetrap system that has an 18-foot cord, and the kids do starts. And at 18 feet, their time appears on the display board to the 100th of a second. How fast did you get to 18 feet? Well, there are 9 things that they can change to get to 18 feet faster. And one thing is just raising your legs. If you raise your legs, you're 9/100ths faster at 18 feet. So there's all kinds of things a coach can do to help a swimmer break through that
So really,
block.
over the time that you've been involved in swimming, it's now almost to a true science of if you got to do X, Y, and Z to hit these times.
I have a newsletter that goes to 5,000 coaches worldwide. And in that newsletter, the last issue, I put 50 new techie things that coaches can get to be a better coach.
We talked about advice you would give to a swimmer. What advice now would you turn and give to the coach?
Well, coaches have to have a passion for helping kids be the best they can be. If they're going to post a workout and sit down, they're not a coach. They're a babysitter. Coaches have to have a passion. To me, right now, the most important thing, first of all, for a swimmer, there are only 2 important things in their career: the coach and being coachable, and a clock. That's all that matters. You got other people on the team. To me, those people are friends. They're buddies. They're good friends. But the only thing that's going to make them better is the coach and the pace clock. And then to add to that, there's a new thing called Swim Hero RA. That's one word, swimherora.com.
Okay.
And it's a race analysis program. So the coach videos the race on an iPad. And then he goes into Swim Hero RA and he does a race analysis. And in a 50, it'll create about 30 characteristics and graphs and charts and gives them all kinds of information on starting time, breakout time, tempo, turning time, breakout time, tempo, finish, last 5 meters, all kinds of things that help a swimmer. And if a coach isn't using that, they're not helping their kids be the best they can be, because race analysis is critical.
Now, Bob, nowadays, parents are more involved in their swimmers. Not to say it wasn't in the past, but you see a lot more parents involved in the pool decks. Is that same application available for parents if they want to video their children and send it upstream and get the same analysis?
They can do that,
Okay.
but I would discourage it, because all of a sudden parents become experts. And parents are not experts.
I get it.
You've got a coaching staff that's got 200 years of experience in coaching, and then all of a sudden a parent that's had a kid in a sport for 5 years thinks they know everything, and that's a disservice to the swimmer and to the staff. But the second thing besides race analysis then is making practice fun. And I wrote a book, it's been sold in 35 countries, called Games, Gimmicks, Challenges. And coaches can go to that website and get tons, 360 pages of ideas for age groupers and for senior swimmers that help involve them in practice, because an involved athlete is one that sticks around. Our kids end up being with our sport at least 2 years, and that's a good signal for how well they're doing in the sport. We have an 11% increase after an Olympic Games. Kids stay for at least 2 years. That's really pretty good. But it's got to be fun. If it isn't fun, it's hard to stay involved.
Well, Bob, thank you very much for your time. And
Yeah.
again, thank you for all the advice.
Thank you.
So, wow, great show today. Really good stuff. I actually learned a lot myself.
Oh, yeah. Well, whenever you have John on a show like this, we appreciate his time. Did a great job for us.
It was unbelievable, not only hearing about what happened last year, but all the returning athletes that he has for this next year. This is going to be a really scary season.
It's going to be a crazy season. And, you know, I didn't ask John this, but is there something like, does John worry about a St. Andrews?
No, John's
or
a professional.
A Lake Highland?
He doesn't worry. He focuses on his charges. Those athletes that he controls, just like a good coach. You're going to set yourself up for a good meet now and then, but you're really focused on what you have control over your own athletes.
I mean, what do you think, Dave? I mean,
you know what? Sid is exactly right. The way that he is sitting there focusing, he is preparing his team, and he's going to keep on the course until we see him in November.
So another great show, guys. Thanks for being here. And from all of us here at Florida Swim Network, we'll see you next time on deck.